We now bring you our regular Saturday morning feature, For Ladies Only, with Sally Miller discussing things of interest to all housewives. And now, here's Sally Miller.
Hello, ladies. Time for another of our weekly hen parties. I can't help wondering if our Saturday morning get-togethers really are hen parties. Do we have any men in our listening audience? I'll just bet we do. The very name of this show, For Ladies Only, is probably enough to make every man within the sound of my voice prick up his ears. Curiosity, you know. At least that's what they call it. Actually, they're probably afraid they'll miss something vital that every lady in the house is going to know about. Men are funny creatures. I should know I have two of my very own. One of 5 months and 29 inches, another of some 324 months and 72 inches. Last week when I returned home from the broadcast, little 29 inches was sitting on 72 inches' lap, dressed in a bright yellow sweatshirt and long black navy socks reaching to the diaper. When I recovered from the shock of seeing my little baby so oddly dressed, I asked my husband for an explanation, if there was one. Well, it was very simple. He thought the apartment was chilly, so he was dressing the baby warmly. I patiently explained that the conventional way to keep a baby warm was to wrap it in a blanket. But he liked it his way. See what I mean? Men are odd characters. Have you noticed the recent trend that parents have adopted to announce their family additions to the world? What I'm referring to are the ingenious birth announcements being used today rather than the conventional greeting card. The card designs usually reveal parents' professions or current distractions. When our baby was born, we sent our friends a multiple-choice examination paper with the proper answers or information underscored. This, of course, was in keeping with my husband's teaching profession. Since then, I've seen birth announcements recorded on phonograph records by parents who earn their living writing songs. A newspaper man announced his son's arrival by a duplicate of the front page of his newspaper. Of course, the news of the day was substituted with name, date, weight, and so on. Imitation theater tickets have become quite popular. Oh, I'm sure you've all seen them. You know, they usually read something like this: Mary and Bob present A King is Born, starring Diane Gloria King. Premiere Friday, April 7th, 11:30 p.m. Costume, diaper service, vocal studio, and then the address of the household. And on the bottom, the management reserves the right to cancel personal appearance if the star is sleeping. The left-hand side of the ticket usually has the weight set up as a row and seat number and the address of the hospital and the place for the name and address of the theater. A pilot's baby was announced via a solo flight sheet. A designer drew a blueprint to tell the world of his firstborn. A movie projectionist filmed his news on celluloid strips, while a daily form presented a member of the Racing Commission's daughter. A laundryman sent out the following announcement: Bundle delivered to Leonard and Rosalind Theodore, proprietors of Nature Made Laundry. Our motto: when better bundles are made, we'll make 'em. Note: any claim or error must be reported at once, accompanied by both parents. Name of bundle: Louis Charles. Weight of bundle, date of delivery, address, doctor's name is delivered, and so on. This laundry ticket was topped off by the slogan, Hope you like our workmanship. Who does your laundry? Income tax withholding statements should be very popular at this time of the year. I saw one which had the baby's name as employee, the hospital as place of employment, the parents as employers, and the baby's weight as total income. An especially ingenious couple with an eye toward economy actually used blank copies of Tax Form 1040 with the new baby's name listed as an exemption, and so it goes. Here's one project where you can really let your imagination run away with you. Nothing is too extreme or too unusual. If you've ever sent any unusual birth announcement, or if you have any around the house which you've received from friends, why not write to me and let me know about them, huh? With the Easter season almost upon us, you most likely have your complete new spring outfit gaily hanging in the closet. If not, you've at least given some thought to how you wish to dress on Easter Sunday. But how about your kiddies? Do they have their new spring clothes? Why not dress your children up this season? I've been looking at the new spring styles for the younger set, and honestly, there's a new look prevalent in their clothes also. Just a brief peek in the windows of Reggie's Kitty Shop in Monongahela, and you'll just see how cute your little ones can look this spring. Little girls are going to have ballerina skirts, too, and dangling petticoats. Little boys can have that He-Man look with tweed or pastel toppers and matching caps. And have you seen the pastel corduroy overalls now being shown? So very nice for play hours. And the darling jodhpurs, which will make your little curly-headed babe quite the sophisticate. I've always enjoyed looking at children's clothing, and now that I have a little one of my own, I just can't resist them. Guess I'll have to stop thinking seriously about ruffles and bows for a while, since the Miller firstborn turned out to be a he, but I'm constantly surprised at the darling things being shown for little gentlemen. There's no reason why they can't look just as sweet as their sisters this Easter. Reggies can dress a brand new baby as well as the first grade set. So come on, mamas, let's be frivolous for once this year and really dress the little ones. Do you hear something jangling over the air? It's my bracelet. Well, about 1/4 of this election year will soon be gone, and it won't be long until summer and the national presidential nominating conventions will be meeting. Already we're besieged with hopeful candidates, unwilling chiefs of staff, kissing governors, unpopular generals, balcony-minded presidents and Ohio senators, and the California People's Choice. I don't know too much about politics, but sometimes I just can't help wondering, and I just can't help being annoyed at the way in which heated campaigns are carried on. I don't see why all this insulting and name-calling and so on is necessary. After all, any man who achieves national prominence must have some good qualifications, so why does the opposition party have to tag him a numbskull? Let's not sell any of our big men short. A certain man may not be your particular choice, but there are undoubtedly thousands of people who think he's pretty terrific. In a country of 150 million, a few thousand may sound like very little. Yet, if a few thousand people were willing to stick up for me on any issue, I'd consider myself quite the girl. Think about it, ladies, and don't fall for some of this tomfoolery that will undoubtedly be thrown at us. It's your president. Think clearly, read, learn the issues at hand, and then vote for your choice. When the child is between 3 and 6 years of age, his devotion to his parents is his main strength and liability. At this period of his emotional development, he strives with all his might to pattern himself after them, identify himself with a parent of the same sex. Identification is more than imitation. The 2-year-old sweeps and dusts when his mother does, brushes his teeth and writes letters when his father does. The child glories in feeling that he is like his parents. When a child plays house and acts the part of the father, he says and does the very same things his father did that morning. Little girls love to dress up in their mother's clothes and pretend that they are their mothers to dollies. Actually, this playing of grown-up parts is very important. As a vine grows by clinging to a tree, so the child's spirit grows by attaching itself to the parent's spirit. The child's emotional need for parents is so strong from 3 to 5 years of age that if he doesn't have a father or a mother, he creates them out of his imagination. He talks about them as if they were alive. A little boy who has no father should be helped by his mother to grow with men. Uncles, cousins, men teachers in school, and men leaders in camp and clubs will do the trick. A boy whose father is constantly disapproving and scornful has a harder time than the boy with no father at all, for such a father so close at hand trains his boy to become uneasy with all males. All good fathers want their sons to grow up manly, but if a father is so sensitive about it or in such a rush to bring it about, he scorns his son for whimpering or running from a fight at an early age. It will block the very result he is trying to achieve. The child of 3 is intensely curious. He asks why all day long. He doesn't necessarily want specific answers. His asking is more or less a habit of mind. He goes on asking in an absent-minded way without any attention being paid to most of the answers. Between 3 and 6, the child is a very sociable being. He loves his parents and other friendly grown-ups. He warmly enjoys other children, too, especially if he has a chance from an early age to get used to them. At 3, 4, and 5, the child responds easily to the enthusiasm and imagination of other children. His relative lack of self-consciousness keeps him from worrying about whether or not he will be accepted. This is the period, above all, to encourage sociability by letting a child play with other children of his own age. If you live in an isolated place, it's worth a great deal of trouble to bring him several times a week to places where other children play. If your child is given a free hand in these things, he will have the best possible preparation for adjustment in the school years when sociability is taken very seriously by all children. You can go even further and say that a warm enjoyment of others, particularly learned in early childhood, has as much to do with eventual happiness of the adult as any other single factor. Have you ever wondered why your package of oleomargarine comes with a small envelope or capsule of coloring matter which necessitates your coloring the oleo yourself? Well, there's actually a law against colored oleomargarine, unless the manufacturer be willing to pay a 10-cent tax per pound. There's a bill before Congress today to abolish this 60-year-old act. Oleo is an excellent substitute for butter and far cheaper in price. But the business of coloring it yourself is really a nuisance. The manufacturer would be glad to do this job, and they could do thousands of pounds in the time it takes one of us to color a single pound. But in order to avoid the tax of 10 cents, which would be passed on to the consumer, the manufacturer cannot mix the coloring matter. The most annoying factor in all this controversy is that butter is almost always artificially colored, and there's no penalty or restriction on it. Butter couldn't possibly be the same shade of yellow all the time. Too much depends on the season of the year or what kind of feed the cows have been eating. The butter maker wants a uniform product. Therefore, he colors his butter when it's pale. Why can't the same thing be done with oleomargarine? There goes that rattle again. I just didn't think about it when I wore this bracelet this morning. Well, it's time to close the door on another weekly chat. If my listeners will allow me a moment of airtime for a personal thought, I'd like to congratulate the senior class of Monongahela High School for the excellent play that they presented a few evenings ago. It was my idea of one of the best amateur productions I've ever seen. Bye now.
You have been listening to the regular Saturday morning feature for Ladies Only with Sally Miller, discussing things of interest to all housewives. Sally will be back with us next Saturday at 9 o'clock.